Hi, I'm Jen Holz from AARP Maryland, and I am joined today by our friend Christine Van Bloem from the kitchen studio.
Woo!
Welcome, Christine.
Hey Jen,
So
how you doing?
great. So great to see you again. We are super excited to just have a little bit of fun today. So, for those of you that don't know, over the coming months, we're going to have a series of sessions with Christine. And this little live session is to kick that off. We're going to have some Zoom meetings with Christine where you can actually take a cooking class with her through the months of November and December. So we wanted to give you a taste, of what that would be like. And today, Christine is going to do a quick recipe with us featuring Brussels sprouts. So we're excited about that. I have to say, the verdict, the jury is out on Brussels sprouts. I personally didn't eat them until I was 30, and now I am absolutely obsessed with them. So I'm really excited to see what you're going to do today.
I love that. Jen, I am so excited. I think this is going to be the most fun. We've really gotten our groove on with our online classes, and you know what a huge fan I am of yours and AARP Maryland and all that. So I think this is going to be a really good, safe way to learn and have some fun and break up our days and do the whole thing.
Sure.
It's late October. I feel like 2020 is evaporating. Thank goodness. But I was thinking, I was kind of going over what we should make, and we make these Brussels sprouts at the kitchen studio. I'm living in Frederick, Maryland, and there used to be a restaurant in downtown Frederick that made these ridiculous Brussels sprouts. And like you, I never had them. I mean, seriously, I think I was at least 45
Hmm.
before I had a sprout because my mom didn't like them. So now they're, of course, the chic vegetable for everyone. Isn't that so funny?
I love it. I love it.
So this restaurant, it was called Aisha, something like that. It was wonderful. Oh my gosh, it was so good. But they would deep fry their Brussels sprouts.
Ooh.
And I recently had a heart attack. So I have been looking at making all of my recipes like the docs say, as delightful as my Rubenesque figure is, perhaps I need to pare it down a little. So I'm trying to incorporate a lot more veggies, and I'm trying to um, lighten up the veggies I do because you can deep fry anything and it's going to be delicious.
Absolutely.
But as we get a little older, I know that I have to, and I don't like pulling out the deep fryer to do things. So I know I have to lighten things up, and I think you all will like this. It's a really simple recipe. I mean, we're going to be able to get it done, I think, pretty quickly here. And you are you going to be posting the recipe for everyone?
We will. And
Awesome.
also just to let you know, because we are live, we do have folks commenting live on Facebook. So from
Love.
time to time, I'll be letting you know what they have to say. Already, we've got someone commenting, all of this COVID-19 home cooking is leaving me in need of more recipes and cooking tips. So
Awesome.
we're running out of recipes, and also the idea that this will be on the healthier side is wonderful. So
Terrific.
carry on. Yep.
Awesome. And I feel you on that. And please, any questions you have, oh my gosh, the more the better. And if I don't know it, I'll just make it up.
Great.
But the recipe that you guys are going to see, it's for a lot. It's for 6 people. I want you to know this recipe goes up and down, no problem. Super, super easy. So one of the things we're doing, I actually snuck some sprouts in the oven before we got started, so we wouldn't have to watch the paint dry, right?
Sure.
But what we're going to do is we're going to roast our sprouts because roasting is you. It's just the best way to get a lot of flavor out of something. And I'm all about Anne Burrell. She's a chef on the Food Network. I think she's
Mm-hmm.
the one who said brown food is good food,
Mm-hmm.
and she's 100% correct. So for those of you who have never had a sprout, like Jen and I waited until we got through our picky years, I suppose. This is what a sprout looks like, right? It's not cute. It's like a little baby cabbage.
Tiny
Let's
cabbage,
put this
right.
way. Yeah, it's like a baby cabbage. And I remember the first time, oh my gosh, okay. I remember the first time that I saw a sprout on the stalk. It was at like a giant eagle or something like that. My mind was blown. They're really cool, but it's a little tricky because you got to cut them all off the stalk there. So what we want to do is we want to trim these guys. And we definitely want to trim them before we start cooking them, washing them, doing all of that stuff. Because, and this is a little older sprout, they've got the bottom from where it's cut off. So that's healed a little. It might look a little dirty. Super simple to just cut the bottom off. And some of the leaves are going to fall. Now, this will be a controversial moment for us. I cut them in half, and then I'll put them in a colander and get them all roasted. Some leaves will fall off. It's your call if you want to throw them on the tray or not. I like throwing them on because they get
crispy,
like really crispy.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we? There we are. That's seriously delicious.
Yeah.
And I'm not a green vegetable person. I don't know if any of you do compost, but I do composting here at home. And I have this little home, it's got filters in it so it doesn't get stinky.
Great idea.
Goodness. Yeah, it's really good. My husband takes care of that end of things, which is so good. So you're a pro fall and leaf kind of gal, am I right?
Oh, I am. That's my favorite part.
It's a good part, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay, oops, sprout down.
So while you're working over there, Christine,
yeah.
One question that just came in from Adrian. What are some of the best things to pair with Brussels sprouts? So while you're cooking the sprouts, what can you be thinking about to go with?
Okay. Oh my gosh, what a good question. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of a pork tenderloin,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I really do like, this is going to have a lot of bang to it, right? So I'm cool with just roasting a pork tenderloin, doing some herbs on it. My herb garden's still going a little crazy on me, which I love. Mm-hmm. But I would go with something like that, or probably not beef. I don't love that. I always think of poultry with sprouts. I don't know why, but everybody does sprouts with bacon. I've never had that.
I haven't either. I'm not a big bacon fan, but I see it a lot on menus.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the traditional way to go,
mm-hmm.
right? It was like boil them and cook them with bacon. Sorry, you can hear the dog in the back. My husband's probably freaking out right now trying to calm the dog.
We don't mind.
Stuff, right? All right. Okay, so here's what we do. We take our sprouts that we've cut. I give them a rinse in a colander. And then, this is where it gets really important. When you're roasting a vegetable, really when you're roasting anything, we don't want it to be all snugged up on each other, mm-hmm. right? Think of social distancing for your veggies, because that's what we need. When they've got space, they're going to let the heat get all around it. If they're smashed up against each other, they're going to steam, and then you're not going to get the benefit of that yummy brownness, mm-hmm. right? So I'm going to pull this out again in just a minute so you can see how the veggies are spaced. But I use a little bigger tray than I would normally use. Since it's just my husband and myself here at home now, I use like a little, we call it a quarter sheet pan. So mm-hmm. Let's see if I've got one here in my mess of a cupboard. And I'll pull it out next class we do. But it's about yay big, right? And I like it because it's just a little too small if you're trying to roast something. You have to have space between it. Easy?
Okay, that makes sense.
Alrighty. So I'm going to do a garlic clove. And listen, this is not a baking recipe, so you don't have to have precision. If you're like, garlic upsets my stomach, leave it out. I don't care. I'm not in your kitchen, so do what works for you, right? I love garlic. My husband says I love it too much.
Speaking of dislikes, we have a comment from Rose here who says, is it possible to sub something else if you're not a huge fan of Brussels sprouts? So what veggie would you suggest?
Well, Rose, tell me what kind of veggies you like. Like what floats your boat? Because for this, I want a veg that's got a little more substance to it, mm-hmm. right? Because basically we're going to make a vinaigrette to put with it. So if you're into, I don't think I would want something, you know, it would be really good, and you're going to think I'm crazy. Carrots. Carrots mm-hmm. would be really good with this. All right. That's the best.
Being at home, you got the dog, I got the kid.
Kids and puppies, man. That's the thing. Give me a kid or a puppy any day of the week. All right.
So yes, carrots are a popular choice here. Got lots of
Yeah.
people who love garlic.
Good.
Also some questions about, mushrooms. Can you roast the mushrooms in there? Throw them in there.
Who came up with that? That's genius.
That's Tammy. She said, what's
Tammy.
the best way to do it?
Tammy, you show it off. I like it. Okay, so mushrooms are 80% water.
Mhm.
Okay, if you're going with like a button mushroom, they just want to steam and get gross. High heat, I'm using 400 degrees. You're going to toss them with a little bit of oil, a little salt and pepper, give it the zhuzh, stick it in the oven. Let it go about 15 minutes. Give them the shake so it moves around. Check them. But with a mushroom, what you want to really do is make sure the water has come out and it's giving it the opportunity to brown, right? Because water makes it steam.
Right.
And steamed is
mushy things.
That is good. That is
Got
good.
it.
Gosh, I love Tammy. Tammy's genius. This is so cool. I love the questions so much. So think about, I might be a little weird. Do you guys ever have you ever worked with parsnips?
Right? I eat them at restaurants, but I've never made them myself.
You're so fancy. They just look like blonde carrots. Right?
They're very good.
What if you did this with a little bit of roasted sweet potato? I'm thinking like root vegetables, right? So that's kind of, I guess in my head, I'm going to my Thanksgiving table and thinking what could be on there. All right, so let's show you this. This is, okay. Now I know Tammy does it because Tammy's asking the right questions, so I know she's a good cook. All right. Woo! Ho, 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 ho. Hang on. Oh, okay, check this out.
Oh yeah, you got the brown in there for
sure.
I got the
brown in there. Okay, so these went. That was my favorite part. I swear it is. These went for 20 minutes. 15 minutes at 400. Gave them a zhuzh. 5 more minutes, just because the leaves, they're going to go really fast. They're going to go really quickly on you. But I want to make sure those sprouts are cooked the whole way through.
Sure, that's really quick. That's a nice, fast recipe. We've got another comment on here from Leah who suggested parsnips, rutabaga, sweet potatoes, and beets.
Okay,
now I could do that. You don't do beets. I love them.
Daddy issues. It's daddy issues. But I think if you did maybe some golden beets, right?
They're very mild.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Leah, also a genius. I love
it. So what'd you just do there? What's in that pan?
Okay, so here's what we've got. I'm going to brown some walnuts. Now, here's what I want y'all to do, because I can tell already your group is super smart and they're way ahead of the average bear. So I want you to think about using a recipe like this as your foundation, as your start. Okay, you get the idea. We're going to roast a veg on high heat. We're going to make a vinaigrette, but maybe you want to mix up the oil and the vinegar that we use. Maybe you want to mix up the nut that we use, because I do love nuts, and nuts are super heart healthy. So it's something I'm trying to include a little more of. All right, so for this one, I'm doing a little bit of Dijon mustard because I love Dijon mustard. It's an emulsifier, it keeps it all together. And then I put a little honey in, which is weird, but delicious. And then I've got some garlic that I minced. All right, and I'm just going to give that a quick whisk. And the honey and the Dijon come together. I mean,
absolutely.
Duh.
Yum.
Right. Now, we're going to keep this bargain basement, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to use red wine vinegar. But what else could you use? I'll bet wherever people live, they have some fancy oil and vinegar shop somewhere nearby, right? So I want you to think, I mean, we have one in my town that is, oh gosh, she does this garden herb vinegar, and I'm not a sucker for that stuff. I'm like a super purist, right? I'm like, give me the cheap old red wine vinegar any day. I could drink it. It's so good.
It's so good.
Oh, everything.
Definitely worth trying.
All right, now, all this is, you can see it's super attractive. You can't really see it. It's like a muddy pink. Delicious. But that's our base for our vinaigrette. And then, woohoo, I'm going to use some olive oil. Now, if you have fancy olive oil, that's totally cool. This could be a good place to use it. But what we want to avoid doing is using really good olive oil when we're going to heat it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to heat this with residual heat, right? Because we're not going to saute anything in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use a little olive oil on your sprouts, but you don't really want to.
Do you lose some of the taste when you cook it? The taste cooks out the fanciness of the olive oil.
Yeah, the fanciness is gonna cook out. And I'll tell you, olive oil just isn't made to take a lot of heat.
Sure.
And so I'm super cheap, right? I mean, I'll pay for the good meal, but I'm gonna use my Wegmans big bottle that I got for my general cooking.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
We've got a note from our administrators on the page saying, disclaimer, eat lunch before all of this. All of this food talk is killer. So yeah, we're all gonna pig out after this.
Oh, my girl. Yeah, I have been cooking at home. Well, I'll be honest with you. I've gotten, since I had the heart attack, we have had a meal train.
I
don't know if you have ever.
Yes, absolutely.
Crazy.
Yeah, you get a lot.
Crazy.
Your freezer is full, right?
It's so cool. No, we are giving, our son comes by. He's grown and on his own. So he'll come by and we're like, here, take some dinner. But it's been amazing. I mean, the food's been fantastic. We've been really lucky. All right, let's see what we've got. Now, I like to get my nuts a little toasty because it brings out the flavor. Nuts are really high in fat. They've got a lot of natural oil in them. If you toast them, you can use fewer because you get more flavor. And then I'm going to use a little handful of currants. And you're going to find these where you find the raisins. And full disclaimer, I absolutely hate raisins. Like the devil's fruit. Oh, hate it. Hate it, hate it. All right, so I'm going to put those currants in. And then I'm letting my walnuts get a little toasty. I could see carrots and pistachios.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Doing this, carrots and pistachios. We're totally going to make that. I'm very excited now.
Right. Write that one down.
Write that one down.
So there's no oil in that pan, right? You're just toasting them, just straight dry. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of gilding the lily. You know what I mean? We're not, like I said, I'm working really hard to be more respectful of myself. And I'm trying to cut back on all the oil and all of that stuff. I mean, not cut it out entirely because, hello, let's live a life.
Gotta live.
But I am trying to cut it back. And that's what's so great about using nuts and things. And I don't know, I just love it. I'm so excited by it. Okay, let's pull this. Now, here's what I've got. This just has, you can see the currants, the walnuts, the vinaigrette. I did put a little salt and pepper in. Now, do any of our folks who are watching have genius ideas on other combos?
So everybody was a big fan of the sweet potatoes. That was popular. And the carrots, of course. Anybody who said they were not a fan of Brussels sprouts, it has now changed their mind and may give them a try after this. So we've got Tammy again. She says she's roasted nuts in the oven, but never on the stove. So that's a good tip. So you don't have to fire up the oven.
Doing the nuts?
Yeah, doing them on the stove as opposed to the oven. Yeah.
I get so easily distracted, right? I'm definitely like Doug the dog from Up, squirrel. Right. 100%. And I get so distracted and I'll forget that I've put the nuts in and something will happen. So I'm almost always toast them dry on.
And you're standing right there, so you can't ignore them.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Can't ignore them. Oh, the little crispy bit. It's so good. This is so good. Okay, I'm going to put it in a cute bowl so you all can see. Now, I have been jabbering away, but we got that all done. And I'll tell you what, I could have done, oh, look at that. I could have done the sprouts as we were talking. They would have gotten done, but I just know I'm a blabbermouth and I won't shut up.
Same. So that looks fantastic.
Doesn't this look so good?
Yes.
Check that out.
They look amazing.
Isn't that gorgeous? So it was seriously my riff on a restaurant here in town. They were amazing. I'm so sad they closed. I love going there. But a little healthier because we're not deep frying. And I want you to take all the info and the recipe will get posted. And I want you to come up with cool combinations. And then I think it'd be really fun if they come back and post them on this post.
Oh, yeah.
So that we can see pictures.
All right, you hear that, everybody? So if you have any cool combinations or you give this recipe a try, let us know what you think. We're going to go ahead and have that recipe posted for you to try at home. But this has been awesome.
Yeah.
We're really looking forward to doing this with you again. We're hoping next time we can get folks to pre-register so that they can actually purchase the ingredients in advance.
Yep.
And they can actually do this along with you. I believe our next session is November 9th, if I'm not mistaken. And we have some other pairings coming up here. Oh, salmon would be really good with this.
Yeah.
A little sausage. Yep, we've got a lot of comments coming up here. So,
Yeah.
Christine, I can't wait to do this with you again. And we're really glad you're healthy. Looking forward to talking with you in just a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And I am working up really fun things for all of the classes we're going to do together. And we're going to do some where you can cook with someone. Like do maybe if you have grandkids, we're going to do a couple of Saturdays too. And I'm so excited. I just love working with you guys.
That'll be fun. So everybody keep an eye on our Facebook page for our future postings. You can see our Facebook events being posted. You can pre-register and take a look at our events calendar. We'll have all the information up there in the next couple of weeks. Thanks, Christine. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.